Pepper Zero.
Yeah.
All day, every day.
That's true.
So it is what it is. But guys, welcome back to DeLoco Podcast. Guys, thank you guys for tuning in today. Today is a very special one. It's a little different, but I'm super excited. I'm very ecstatic. This is the very first time that we meet.
Yes.
We did meet through the phone.
Yes.
We'll get to that. But guys, you can follow me on Instagram at Gilbert_DeLoco. You can also follow me at DeLoco Podcasts. You can listen to DeLoco Podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and now you can listen to it on iHeartRadio Podcasts. And also, too, if you want to see, me, this Papi Chulo, just go ahead and go over to YouTube. And it's the one with the Papi Chulo, okay? But thank you so very much for being here.
Yes, thank you for having me.
I appreciate you. And this is just me. I had a very hard time trying to pronounce your name, one, because I'm Mexican, so it's kind of hard to pronounce it. Can you pronounce your name, please?
Yes, it's Viviane Mithani.
Viviane Aguirre-Mithani.
Yes, but my maiden name is Aguirre.
Aguirre.
Okay.
Okay, cool. I like your shirt or your sweater. That's super cool.
Representing.
There you go. Representing. So we met through, I was actually doing an episode with Chancla. Mm-hmm. And I did a live before I was actually going to record, and you were on the live. Right. And I know you messaged me out there, hey, I would just love to share my story, if you give me an opportunity. And I said, okay, cool, message me. And after the podcast, we can go from there. And I read just a bit of your story and everything that you've, that's happened. And it's an amazing story. So I said, yeah, we're going to, jump on it. And the people here in San Antonio need to hear it. Because I know there's a lot of people here that they have different stories, backstories. And then, it's like everybody says, and we have a friend of ours that used to say it a lot, is that people see, the success that you have, but they don't know the story behind it. Right. And I think right now people need to find out your story. And if you can just mention to everyone that is listening and watching here in San Antonio, or maybe even everywhere. I mean, hopefully everyone's listening to the local podcast. If you could just mention your name, where you're from, and what you're about, and then we can get to you. Yeah. You sharing your story.
Certainly. Well, my name is Viviane, and I was born, raised here in San Antonio, Texas. After we got married, after I got married to my husband, we lived a little bit in Oklahoma, and then we came back because, there's no Mexican food in Oklahoma. We were in Oklahoma City, in OKC, and we missed it so much. So we came back. We adopted, about 2 years later, we adopted our children, which is a sibling group of 4 kids. So we have 4 kiddos.
Oh, wow.
And along with so many animals.
Really?
We have 2 conejos, or what do you call it? Tortoise. And then we have 3 dogs now.
3 dogs?
3 dogs.
What kind of dogs are they?
Schnauzers.
Schnauzers. Those are nice looking dogs.
No, they are, except the newest one, she's 5 months, and she won't stop barking.
Really? Oh, no. It's a little baby, syndrome.
She has attitude,
Puppy
too.
syndrome.
She's
really?
got attitude. Yes, she has, and believe it or not, they're like little humans. You look at them, I'm in the profession of psychology, so I study my kids, I study my husband, it's you can't switch it off. It's hard to switch it off. So I'm even looking at the dogs, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I've never seen an animal have so much. They're so spoiled. They're
really
rotten. They have so much attitude. It's crazy. It's crazy. Like, so that might be something I might dabble in later.
There you go.
Psychology of dogs.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, but it's funny to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, but other than that, I mean, I attend OLU. I'm working on my master's degree, so I'm in the ABM program, which is accelerated bachelor's to master's degree. Sorry.
Okay.
And and then I'm going to do a minor in leadership studies.
Oh, that's cool.
And so when I'm done, I guess when I grow up,
Yeah. And remind me, all of you is Our Lady of the Lake, correct?
University, yes.
Yes. So shout out to Our Lady of the Lake. Our Lady of the Lake, I appreciate you guys sharing posters and stuff like that. Super cool. I appreciate you you reaching out to Our Lady of the Lake, and Our Lady of the Lake was sharing it with everybody.
Yes,
and that's super cool. Definitely. That's a blessing to me without you knowing. for people to listen in. So shout out to Our Lady of the Lake. Let me use your auditorium, you know what I mean? But whatever. But okay, so you're very educated. So let's say after you're done, what are some kind of goals that you're going to want to do, or what do you have? Or
I have a lot, but what's been weighing on my heart is just really tackling mental health care, especially here in our city, especially in the underprivileged areas of our community. So we're talking South Side, East Side, West Side, and I know there's already programs in place that help to a sense, but a lot of people, especially when you are undocumented as well, you don't go out seeking that. You just go out looking for work under the table, and that's it.
That's it.
That's it. You can't let anybody know that anything physical that's happening to you, most definitely nothing mental, because you don't want anybody thinking any different of you either. So, and I know it's going to be hard to get people to bring down their walls and to trust you, because that's a big thing too. They got to trust you. But I want to find a way where I can get to that point in our community where I can find a way to offer them some type of help. And I know it's going to be a long road, but that's just something that's been weighing on me for a while, and that's come from a lot of different major changes too, because in the beginning it wasn't psychology. In the beginning it was something completely different, but because I went through my own experiences with depression and anxiety, that's why I want to help with this, because it's really, I mean, a couple people that I've talked to before, they're like, oh, it's like bumps in the road. I said, no, it's not. It's like taking a trek up a mountain and then getting that descent, and sometimes that descent right back down to the ground, it's not even, it's no better than having to go back up.
Yeah, exactly.
So and that's why it's been on my heart and my mind to just really make an impact in San Antonio alone. So
yeah, and I think that's super cool that you, of course, us being here, San Antonians, right? You want to say San Antonians, they help give back in a certain way,
right?
And that's one of the biggest things that I was able to participate last year in. I was able to participate in a turkey drive, my very first one. I was able to partner up with 412 Threads. Shout out to 412 Threads, Hector Hines, who will also be on the podcast very soon. We linked up together. And he always links up with, his church, and links up with different people that are here in San Antonio that are making a difference. And he told me, hey, bro, if you want to make a difference within the community, have a perfect opportunity. And I said, yeah, bro, I'm willing to do that. What better way to do that? And with, the less unfortunate that they can't afford a Thanksgiving that we're blessed to have. And for me to be able to see the kids' faces, especially me giving them their turkeys, that just like literally blew me away. And this year I'm going to do it again. And I'm looking for different things, like to partner up with 412 Threads and different people to give back to the community in some way, somehow, because the community of San Antonio, some of the community are in good standards, and then there's some that they're more or less unfortunate, and then there's some that are, they're okay,
right.
How you say you have your high class, middle class, low class, and then you have your,
right.
Way below class. And I find that very appealing and very, I think that's a good thing that your heart is wanting to do. That's a heart's desire that you want to do, is to give back to San Antonio. And I think that if we have a voice to do it, it's like anything else. I tell everybody I'm super blessed to be here, like right now where I'm at. I started off doing my podcast at my house. I started doing it just by myself, no video, no nothing. Started doing it at my house with different guests. And then I had an opportunity that someone gave me to actually do it at their coffee shop. I did it there. Then God opened up another door for me. Now I'm here. I have a studio spot now, and it's one of those. God's giving me the opportunity, so now I have to give my voice. I have a voice to be able to share, the love of Christ. And it's just two simple phrases that I give people at the very end, is that God loves you and Dios te ama. And those things that God has to remind his people through me is that, no matter if you're going through something, whatever you're facing, no matter if you feel doubt or you feel, at your lowest of your low, you need to remember that God does love you no matter what.
Right.
Like, you can do anything wrong, good, bad, facing what you're facing, but just remember God does love you. And that those two phrases, or that phrase, makes you think and ponder on it. Like, does he? Then it starts to get into different action. So I like that's what you want to do with the community of San Antonio.
Definitely. I mean, it's all about helping each other rise up, to get up off of our knees, to rise up together, and to just be able to prosper, in a sense, whether it's with our mental health, with our physical health.
Yeah.
If it's finding somebody, a means of finding a new financial means to survive, hey, we have to be helping each other as a community.
Yeah.
No matter where you come from, what your ethnicity is, your race, doesn't matter. The fact is that at the end of the day, we're all God's children.
Mm-hmm.
We are all human, and we need to be lifting each other up.
Yeah, and I've said that so many times. I've had Jason from Bootleg Food Review, and I've talked so many times with my friend Joe Conorado, who's also a friend of yours.
Yes.
And that's one of my things, is that I want to be able to lift up the community of San Antonio. There's different people here that people don't know about. Like, I didn't know about you until Joe, I had asked him, so who's this? And he's like, oh, man, she's a super nice lady, super cool, and, bring her on, bro. I'm like, cool. So that's my thing, is that we, especially me in the if you want to say the department that I'm in, like Joe tells me, you're like in this realm of, I always say it, right? It's like we're, if you want to say creators, right? And then we're in that realm. So instead of being a creator and trying to knock one person off and we should be able to help one another. And that's the same thing out here with the community of San Antonio. We should be able to help one another,
Right.
And it's as simple as somebody walking down the street and telling you, hey, man, now don't get me wrong. There are some that, they ask for $2, $3, and it's for the wrong reasons. But then you have those that are genuinely, hey, man, I just need the money. I'm hungry. All right, cool. Let's go get you something to eat.
Right.
You get them something to eat. It could be the cheapest thing, but you made their day.
Right. But, you see it's so odd that you brought that up, too, is because we were just talking about it the other day, my mother and myself, and we were talking about discernment.
Oh, yeah.
Discernment. And it's something that I've been trying to talk to the kids about, it's so odd to kind of tell them, because it's like a gut feeling. It's sometimes it's just kind of ringing over and over and over in your head. Sometimes it's a split decision,
Yeah.
But it's wherever God calls you, and you just kind of feel that, like it's like a pool, and the kids look at me like, what? Like, what are you talking about? No, it's like a pool. It's like you feel like the need, you have to do something. And then you also feel the need in other circumstances or other situations where you're like,
yeah,
stop.
Yeah, you need to stop a little bit. And I know you've gotten to this point in your career, in your faith walk and stuff like that. But I want people to hear exactly your entire story, like your whole testimony that you kind of partially mentioned to me, because I think that when you have this heart desire to want to give back, something must have happened. I always say there's a cause and an effect. And I'm thinking, hey, you're doing all these good things, but there was an effect that happened in order for your heart and your life to be changed and transformed and be able to say, like, okay, I want to do these things because this happened to me. So if you could just share, like, I'm like, I really want to hear like more from, I know you sent me like a whole paragraph, right? But I know it's more than that, because I know you text me on there like, it's more than this, and it's too much to write,
Yeah.
So if you can just share and elaborate, what exactly happened.
What happened? Okay. All right. So I lived a normal, healthy life up until about 2008, latter part of 2008. By then I had graduated high school. I was already trying to figure out what am I going to do with my life. And in the beginning, I was actually going for clinical research. Mm-hmm. And so I had started off at Northwest Vista. And around that same time, I had met my now husband, then boyfriend. I was mean. Yeah. I was mean. I was really mean. Gotcha, because he messaged me one day and we stereotypically, just kind of seeing him, I was like, oh, he just wants papers, So, my mama raised us to be.
Where's your husband from? Where's he from?
Pakistan.
Pakistan.
He looks like a dark Mexican right now.
So her husband's here right now. He's sitting in and watching his wife, and that's why we're laughing really hard right now. So he's here right now. And I appreciate you being here, man, and supporting your wife. That says a lot, that you do support your wife, and that's super awesome.
Yes, he won't let me come alone. Not that I want to, but
yeah.
He promised me dinner after, so.
There you go. That's the way to do it. There you go.
So, we met while we were dating. I started getting it was like, I remember it was summertime because I had short sleeves, and I started getting these little pink spots on my arms, and they just looked like dots. And then they started kind of welting and kind of turning into like penny or dime size, and then bigger and bigger. And I thought, my mom's an RN, and I asked her, I said, what do you think this is? And she said, well, you could be having an allergic reaction, maybe something bit you. Did you use some type of different clothing? Like, because, we all have sensitive skin.
Yeah.
So I was thinking maybe it's polyester or, something that just, did something to me. Started looking into like poison ivy, poison oak, and all that. I was like, no, I haven't been anywhere. So, all of a sudden, it's like, it felt like from one day to the next, my arms recovered. Then more spots started, kind of popping up all along my body. And next thing you know, again, about a whole week and a half passes by, and I'm covered from head to toe in this blistering, red, hot, like lesions all over my skin.
Oh, wow.
And to the point where it's like I had not, since they started getting bigger, I had stopped messaging my husband. My husband. I didn't call him. I ghosted. Hasta que quería ir a mi casa.
Wow.
I was like, this guy. But no, I wanted to be the one to break up with him first, so that way I didn't get hurt. That was.
Oh, wow. You had a game plan already.
I had a game plan. I was like, hey, I'm gonna get rid of you before you get rid of me. No, I mean he was right when he said he was different because he stayed.
There you go.
He stayed.
He stayed.
But so I got sick, and I went to. I didn't have insurance. I was already too old to be under my mom's health insurance. And then same thing for my dad. And I was working part-time at the time at Kohl's. I was transitioning from Kohl's to Macy's. Part-time, you don't get nothing.
Yeah.
And even then you would have to wait like 3 or 4 months. So this is what I'm talking about. And even then it was like Cobra insurance. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
No, that's
bottom tier. Bottom tier insurance, so it was like I wasn't even excited about that. So we went to it was like an express med that did, or like in a clinic that went by your I guess how much you get paid by your salary.
Oh, okay.
It's a different thing, but they go off of some type of fee schedule according to your pay. And I went there, and the doctor was just kind of very passive about everything, but he had given me some steroid creams and stuff, so I started putting it all over the place, and it didn't work. So then my mom had, since she's an RN, she knows, kind of like in the loop physicians and PAs and all that. So she found another clinic where her friend was working as a nurse practitioner, and I went to go visit her, and we got everything checked, all my blood work, everything, and it came back that the steroids that he gave me put me at pretty much at diabetic glucose levels because steroids raise your blood sugar.
Oh, wow.
So I had that now on top of everything. So my healing process was being slowed down now
because of the steroid shot.
Because of the diabetes.
Oh, because of the diabetes.
Now that was an onset from the steroids. And then then she told me that she was going to refer me out to a dermatologist that worked at University Hospital. His name is Dr. Usatine, and I'm still seeing him till today. I mean, he's been amazing. I mean, that man truly just touched by God to help so many people. Dermatology, the general family practice medicine, and so I was to the point where if I even turned my body a little bit, my skin would just tear.
Oh, wow.
I mean, tear. And like long cuts, you know, like fissures. And no matter if I reached up, down, turned my neck, bent over, no matter what I did, it was just tears. Yeah, I would bleed through my clothes. And and this continued for many years afterwards. But they had me on so many medications. I started off with medication it was an oral pill for cancer, methotrexate. And then I went on to try systemics and biologics, which can alter your DNA as well.
Oh, wow.
And those were injections I had to do. And those
You had to take those all the time, or?
I was every week. Every week, and I had to do except for Stellaris.
All at one time, every week, all at one time, or just
no,
like Monday you take this one, Tuesday you take this one.
Yes, but it wasn't altering, so it wasn't like a systemic and a biologic.
Oh.
It was just like the names that I've tried was Stellara, Humira, Enbrel. So once I would be on one for about 3 months, and then technically failed, which is like, you know, when maybe help for maybe 2-3 weeks, I would see some progress, and then all of a sudden it was like a decline.
Oh, wow.
And then I would go back, just bad. And then, you know, we would go on to the next one, the next systemic or the next biologic, and then try that out for a couple months, write it out and see. And it was always the same thing, and it would just come back with like a vengeance, you know, and it would cover everything. Mientras, you know, I'm working full time.
Yeah.
I'm still going and getting at the time my associates. We had gotten married, and I was like trying to make sure I was covered because I didn't want any of our pictures, you know, to come out like that. And it was craziness. Now, with all that said and done, you know, we got married. I'm still sick. We moved to Oklahoma City. I'm like, okay, you know what? I've already kind of come to an acceptance of, okay, this is a lifelong thing. There's no cure. You know, I've tried all these medications. I was still on medications. At the time, I was on Humira. So I ended up going to OU Medical Center, and getting treatment over there for a couple of years. But with them, they have the residents, and then they have like the intern doctors.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so, but they mostly send the interns to you whenever you have an appointment. Rarely do they bring in the resident.
The real doctor.
The real doctor. The one that got the paper
They bring
on
you
the wall.
they bring you the fakie. And like, appointment fakie, let's give them the fakie.
It's the ones that you have to explain to them every time what happened. So what happened? You're like, yeah, I said it last week, and I said it the month before, and the month before. Where are those notes? Can't you read? But, you know, so anyway, so, you know, going through the motions there, we tried light therapy, tried tanning booths. It's weird, but like the UVA, UVB rays, they help with certain wavelengths, like broadband and all that. And but they help with the skin, but te queman.
Oh, wow.
You burn.
So broadband, hasta AT&T, T-Mobile,
I'm telling you.
Cricket, Pocket, hombre.
At all. I mean, and so they put you in that box, you're standing there, and they turn the lights on.
Oh, wow.
If only they had, you know what would have made it funnier is if they had the, like, you know, like that angelic,
oh, yeah.
you know, whenever the lights come on. I think that would have made my day, but otherwise you're just in there. It's so quiet.
And how long did you have to be in there?
You know, it was so strong. At first they start you off at 5 seconds, and then
wow.
and then they build you up.
What's like the
until you get to
max
30.
time that you had to be in there, or that you were in there?
About a minute.
Really?
A minute. So, but I had to build that up. And even then, they would have to bring it down because I would burn. in just a matter of seconds. And I mean, like suntan burn, like you're out in Corpus in the sun and you get all burnt up. That's
Dang.
how fast it was. So it's a very intense, you know, light therapy that they do. And then, but they would switch me also from resident to resident.
Oh, okay.
So what they would do is once before they switch me, this is what they would say. You have exhausted our resources. Así me dijo. You have exhausted our resources. There's nothing else we can do for you. Let's try a different specialist. Or like, a different dermatologist.
Different, yeah.
And then all of a sudden it was like I went back to the same clinic, a couple weeks later to see a different doctor that I could have been. And then it just kept continuing.
Otro fakey.
I'm telling you. and so it was aggravating. I was in the midst of like losing my mind. You know, just because I was sick from all sorts of stuff that just wasn't being treated. My mental health was not great. I had full-blown depression, major depression, I should say. And I'll get more to that here in a bit. But my anxiety was through the roof because it just felt like, what else can happen?
Yeah.
What else is going to happen? Like, I just knew there was something else that was negative that was going to come. Like, that's just how it felt. That's what my thoughts were feeding me.
Your thoughts were feeding you.
My first hospitalization was in 2016. And in fact, I was like this close to graduating. And it was a month before graduation, actually, because I had spent the entire month in the hospital, from the beginning of the month to the end of the month, in the hospital. And they had me in they were treating me as a burn victim, like with 3rd-degree burns, 4th-degree burns, because of how bad it was.
Oh, wow.
That's a point where I never want to go back to.
Yeah.
And it was, sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
It was, like reflecting back right now, it's painful because, I see myself back then with so much despair and questioning, and even questioning from day one too. Like, why me? Why is this happening?
Who wouldn't? I mean, and that happens with everybody. I mean, and so I understand you. Like, everyone, it doesn't matter. Like I said, you go through a certain situation and right away, your mind plays with you, right? And, my abuelita gets mad, right? But I tell him, Diablo mentiroso te también. But to be honest, it is true because sometimes it does happen. And that's when you're at your weakest because now you start thinking bad thoughts. You start thinking negative. Then all those things start to happen. You start having anxiety. You start having depression. All these things on top of already the situation that you're already dealing with.
Right.
So, you had questions. And what was kind of like your turning point after that? Like,
my turning point would be, there were so many, actually.
Yeah.
I remember lying in that bed because Sean, my husband, he stayed with me every night. There was a little sillon, you could lay it back.
Yeah.
But like if you moved a certain way, the springs would pop you back.
them special hospital beds for the husbands.
Yes. Exactly.
Those are horrible. I don't know how you did it, brother. That's
a whole month.
A whole month.
The whole month.
No, you're gonna have to buy him something for Valentine's.
I'm telling you.
Something nice.
I might.
Make up for all those lifestyle.
He's got 4 kids now, so.
Golly, man. That's crazy. I don't know how he did that.
I don't know either. But just this one night, I woke up because I could hear, I was on that ward where everybody was like a burn victim, so that night. And I couldn't really sleep because, every 2-4 hours they would come in and se te sacan el sangre, they do the blood work constantly.
You said every what, 2-3 hours?
Every 2 to 4 hours, something like that. I think it was every 4 hours. They would come, check on you, check your vitals, and even in the middle of the night too, like 2,
really?
4, 5 o'clock. And then in the early morning hours between 7 and 8, the doctors would come to kind of just check on you and ask you, like, how's it going? I'm like, oh my God, asleep. And then mientras, I am on, this is how bad the pain was, let me tell you. I was on Oxycontin, oxycodone, Tylenol 3, ibuprofen 800. I was on gabapentin 800. I was on
All these things at once.
All these things at once.
Oh, wow.
And then I was also on an IV for help me with the word, morphine.
Oh, morphine.
But to the strength where they had me sign a waiver because the strength that I was needing would basically knock out a horse, and then that's what they told me, it would knock out a horse, a small horse. And then they said
the morphine.
The morphine.
Oh.
But, the morphine can actually cause your lungs and, like, your respiratory system in your heart to just stop. Like, it would just paralyze everything.
That used to happen to me, but my mom would hit me with a chancla. No morphine needed.
Well, this is why my mom came to Oklahoma.
Oh, man. That's all right. Now you're asking me, what is it called? I was like, right now my mind was like,
I know.
That's not morphine, but I can talk about a situation where that happened,
It was morphine. And that stuff is crazy, though. I mean, tell you, too, until today, regular pain medicines, like if I have a headache and I want Tylenol, that doesn't work for me.
No way.
Even till today.
Okay, so
I'm not even joking.
So I'm just asking, how many pills do you have to take, like basic headache?
Basic headache now, like, cause we've cut everything back.
Okay.
Cause even after I left the hospital, they gave me all these bottles of like Oxycontin and all that to take, and I was telling Sean, like, I don't want to be addicted.
You don't want that either.
So I went through withdrawal because being on such a heavy amount of medication
that's a lot
for
of
the
stuff.
whole month, and then coming out afterwards, and I'm still studying, by the way.
Wow.
I'm still doing what I have to do for school because in my mind I'm like, I'm a month away from graduation.
Yeah.
Like, I need to see this through.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was a matter of tapering. But like for a headache now, the best thing with a little prayer is like 2 Excedrin.
Mm.
That's it. Like I try not to do ibuprofen, try not to do Tylenol. I mean, I know Excedrin still has its, effects.
Yeah, it still has its effects a little bit.
But, we try to save the kidneys, try to save the liver.
Yeah.
It's really mostly just, chugging water and maybe 2 Excedrin.
Yeah.
That's about it. And then you just hope for the best. Sleep it off if you can. But that's about it. I mean, but, when I was in the hospital, another turning point was I woke up one day and I couldn't feel my feet.
Mm.
And I had looked and my legs had swollen at the time because of all the swelling. I shot up to like 225 pounds, I believe.
Oh, wow.
But my legs were because they pump you all
Yeah,
day
they
with
pump
IV.
you.
So with that saline, my legs looked like they belonged like on that, to somebody who was like morbidly obese, like 600-700 pounds. Like they
didn't put those little like, how you have you seen
compression?
Yeah, the compression sleeves.
No, because I was so remember because I was covered from
that's right.
head to toe.
That's
so
right.
Like everything was.
So they had to
covered.
let everything breathe.
Yes,
basically.
it was bad.
Wow.
But in order to keep the swelling and the pain down, they had to get these long ice packs that were reusable, and they stuffed it. I mean, they were long with ice, and they had like 4. So 2 on the outside, 2 on the inside, and then 2 on the top of my legs, and then some on the sides to keep the inflammation down. So that's how I had to sleep, like super cold in the hospital. But that was the only thing that could bring me comfort besides the medication, because I could still feel everything with the medication. All that medication, I could still feel everything. And then my nerves got so shot because of the pain and the damage that was done because of the psoriasis, which that's one of the things that I was diagnosed with.
Yeah.
But it was excruciating.
Yeah.
So in the hospital, they diagnosed me with even earlier on, it was just one type of psoriasis. It was plaque psoriasis I started off with, and gutate, which gutate is like the little spots I was talking about.
Oh, okay.
And then the regular plaque psoriasis is like the large patches that you see, and they're kind of scaly, little like dry skin.
Oh,
dry
wow.
skin patches. And then it went to pustular, which is kind of self-explanatory. Just, you get these pustules all over. And then I had palmars, so I had the bottom of my hands, bottom of my feet. And then what put me in the hospital was the life-threatening one, which was the erythrodermic psoriasis. So what was happening was that it was attacking my heart, attacking my organs, and my heart rate at rest from the moment I got there till I started getting some type of relief was always over 100. But when I got in, when I was admitted, my heart rate was hovering at resting at about 130 to 140 beats per minute.
And that was at resting?
That was at rest.
Oh, wow.
That was at rest. So when we looked further into it, we found out that the erythrodermic psoriasis, could cause inflammation of the organs. So at the time, we were looking at my heart enlarging.
Yes.
And overworking at the same time. So that's why my heart rate was so elevated. And then also with the cortisol that the body creates when you're under stress, when you're in pain and stuff like that, it was raising along with my steroids because they were slathering the steroids all over me. My sugars were so high. So it was like a cycle. And you just couldn't heal. Your body's attacking itself, trying to heal, but it doesn't realize it's healing. And then you have the diabetes that just inhibits healing. So it's been a long process to come to like a clear, normal.
Yeah.
But this is why we came back because, with Dr. Usatine, he started me right away on chemotherapy. But, while I was in the hospital that first time, I thought, of course I was depressed. I was thinking to myself, this is it. Like, who stays in the hospital for a month? And then I'm looking at myself. I'm like, is this, my prognosis to me was not good. Kind of the secrecy with the doctors kind of talking in between themselves and then giving me like a kind of a game plan. It just felt like they were onto something that they didn't want me to know just yet. So I didn't panic. So I thought, and, so that turning point was, I woke up in the middle of the night. I saw Sean on that couch. And I just kept telling myself, I was like, man, I love him so much. What would be the purpose of God putting him in my life? And then, like, separating
it. Mm-hmm.
Like, making me go, like, why, even on our honeymoon, like, I couldn't go in the water. I couldn't do anything fun. I was covered, and I was afraid of getting, like, an infection and, because of open skin.
Yeah.
I'm like, why would he do this? So, we stayed there for the whole month and finally started getting some type of normal-ish. I was still covered, but it wasn't as inflamed and stuff. But, my whole thing was that, I'm relying on God, so much at this point, like, just keep me alive.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know there's a plan. And when what hit me was one day, and you're gonna laugh. So one day, this gentleman comes to my room. My husband's there. It's like midday. We hear that knock, and we say, "Come in." We think it's a nurse. It's a gentleman. And he has to. And I thought maybe he was like a chaplain or something. Well, my sister. I have two sisters. They're older. I'm the youngest. My oldest sister. She calls a random church in Oklahoma. Okay, number one.
And she lives here.
She lives here.
Oh, wow.
She calls a random church in Oklahoma. And don't get me wrong, brother was so sweet. He was nice. He prayed over me. But we didn't know that he was like, who are the ones that dance? Like, is it evangelists? You know what I'm talking about? Like the ones that you see like on YouTube and they're like seizuring. Have you seen that?
Oh, you're talking about Pentecostal.
Pentecostal,
oh, okay,
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so he was
Sorry.
we
we grew up Pentecostal, so we know. I know.
Yes.
As soon as you said, I was like, "Is that? Yeah, it's Pentecostal." Yeah.
Okay, so here's what happened.
The prayer was 2 hours.
No. Oh God, no. I mean, I love me some good prayer, but
Yeah.
he was like, we're going to heal you. We're going to heal you right now. And I said, amen, and we started praying, and brother had his hand on me, and we take our prayer serious. So,
Yeah.
but also I was on morphine.
Oh, God.
And I was on all these other medications. So when brother said, are you healed now? Or something to that effect. And then paused, I had my eyes closed. And I didn't hear anything. So, I kind of peeked. And brother was looking at me, and he's like, do you feel anything? Are you healing? I was like, no. No. He was like, let's try again. So we did that.
Oh, God.
We were doing that over and over, and I was like, brother, I don't think it's working.
Yeah.
I don't think it's working.
Simple prayer, brother, please. Simple prayer.
I know. So afterwards, I called my sister, Anna. I called her, and I was like, hey, what church did you call? Because, that's not what we grew up with. She was like, well, I called a church. It's just at a church. I was like, Anna, we're in Oklahoma. It's different over here.
Yeah, it's a totally different game.
It's different. It's a whole different ballpark. But I appreciate it so much. So if you're listening, I appreciate it so much. I'm not saying anything bad about it. I loved it.
Yeah.
It was just a little. But the realization that came afterwards was our talk at the moment. And it led me back to, at that time, a long forgotten Bible verse that we grew up with, or that I loved going to Sunday school, which was Jeremiah 29:11. Like, for I know the plans that I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you. Plans to give you a future. And when that hit, I was just sobbing.
Yeah.
Sobbing. Because I needed that eye-opener.
Mm-hmm.
Because up until that point, that whole time, even from day one when I was covered, till then, that depression was just marinating.
Yeah. You were broken, basically.
It was bad.
Broken. You're at your lowest of your low.
Very. Like, I was to the point where I was praying for God to take me. I didn't want to be in pain anymore.
Yeah.
I did not. I did not.
But that's crazy that you say that Bible verse. Mm-hmm. Because God says, I know the plans.
Yes.
I know the plans.
Right.
And sometimes we forget, like we make plans. Mm-hmm. But you read that verse, I know the plans.
Exactly.
That I have for you.
Yes.
So we could pray, like, God, just take me right now. Take me. Take me. But he's like, that's not the plan I have for you. Mm-hmm. You're gonna have to suffer a little bit.
Right.
But trust me. Trust me. And that's what happened there. Mm-hmm. You broke out. You cried because God was reminding you, just trust me. Yeah. Because I know the plans that I have for you. So just trust me. That's it. And that's what I tell people all the time. And that's one of the things that I had towards the end of last year when I came back is, if you don't know who God is, find out who he is. Place him first in everything.
Right.
But not just place him first, you have to trust him too.
Right.
And don't get me wrong, it's hard. It is hard. It's not easy. It's hard. It is. So God literally spoke to you. Mm-hmm. And when was like your actual, like, okay, God's for you, like, okay, you like, okay, God, I can hear you. I know you're working. When was that?
That was probably the last week at the hospital. I had already went through that whole phase where it's like, you know what? Now that my eyes are open, now that I'm seeing, all of a sudden things started to change around me. I had a nurse come up to me that at first, because you have some nurses that are a little rough on the edges, and then you have some that are very lighthearted. Well, this nurse in particular was a little rough on the edges, but she had been there the whole month, and I trusted her, because new nurses come out, so.
It's not the greatest.
Yes, but she was just very quiet to herself. She kind of looked, distraught on her face all the time, like she was just mad to even be there, And I was like, okay, but she overall she was nice at the end. It just looked like she was going through something, but at the end. That last week, she comes up to me. You know, I'm in bed, and she came up, and she puts her hand on me, and she tells me, you know, I haven't prayed for somebody, and I think at that time it was over 10 years, something like that. She goes, we grew up Christian, and I raised my children, you know, around the church.
Mm-hmm.
She goes, we won't get into what happened, but something happened where I fell away, and I just didn't believe anymore. She goes, but seeing you here and seeing that you're going to be discharged in a few days, she goes, I have never prayed for somebody. She goes, but now I'm finding myself praying for you.
Mm-hmm.
And like right now, I'm getting goosebumps right now. It's like at that moment, I just I was like, okay, like God, like what was my story supposed to be? Like, is she's looking at my record, she's seeing everything every day, day in, day out. Was this supposed, this whole
thing, this miracle, was it meant for me, or did you mean it for somebody else?
Right.
And without you knowing, that's crazy.
Yeah, and I'm seeing God move without me ever really getting out the bed, because by then I couldn't walk. You know, my spinal cord had so much inflammation I couldn't walk. And then after I got out the hospital, this is like when I was like, okay, you know what? No, God has a plan for me, and right now, like I need to finish this degree, like just finish it. Like there's a reason why I'm here. And so I'm there calling the schools. I'm like, hey, I can't walk. You know, what's the next plan? Well, if you can't walk, you know, we can put you in a wheelchair and, you know, put you across. And I said, no, that's not happening. So I did physical therapy at home. And mind you, I only had a couple weeks until graduation. And, you know, I had my walker. I was doing, my mom was there too. She was helping me do PT. And lo and behold, I walked that stage. And my hat had, and I have a picture, I'll share it with you later, but I blinged it out, and I put on there, God is within her, so she will not fall on my hand.
That's cool.
And so everybody can see it from the top. And but that whole 2 weeks there at the end of being at the hospital stay, that's when it clicked. That's when I came back. That's when I had my realization that, hey, I'm here for a reason. Whether I'm going through trials or not, whether I'm questioning or not, whether I'm whatever, you know, I'm here for a reason. And that's when it started kind of brewing inside of me, like, okay, what can I do? What can I do?
Awesome.
You know, how can I help people? And so it started, you know, kind of, I switched majors several times. It was bad. I switched majors several times, and finally I came down to you know, telling myself psychology. Psychology is where I need to be, which was actually what I was going for too at the very beginning, and then it was a weird.
You ended up
time.
back where you started.
It's just, you know, you're young and you don't know where you go. You see boys.
Estás enamorada.
I know. They always mess you up.
You were in love, and that's not a problem.
I know.
That's a super awesome testimony. It's not a story. I say it's a testimony because literally you went through this whole ordeal. You're going to school, and God literally used your life to speak to somebody else without you knowing. But He also spoke to you too in the same way. Right. You finished school. You went back. You know, God started brewing something up in you. Hey, you're here for a reason. You need to do something. Right. You said, all right, this is what I'm going to do. And then now your heart's desire, hey, I want to give back to the community of San Antonio. That's super cool.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
That's a super cool thing. Super cool. Thank you for sharing that. I know it can be tough to share those moments, because those moments are when we're at our lowest, and to remember those things is kind of hard. And so I appreciate you sharing those, you know, those moments with us. But guys, right now we're actually gonna go to commercial break, which is sponsored by JD Associates LLC and Edwards Flooring. So if you haven't done your taxes, my friend, go ahead and head on over to JD Associates LLC, where you can get your taxes done. Don't go with La Vecina Lupita, que nomás tiene un ojo, y luego she can't remember her name. Menos she's gonna get you money back. And when you do get your money back, head on over to Edwards Flooring. and get some nice flooring for your casita to look más bonita. So, guys, we'll be right back after this short commercial break. What's up, San Antonio? Are you needing to get your taxes or your bookkeeping services done? Then head on over to JD Associates LLC, Bookkeeping and Tax Services. Guys, you can find JD Associates LLC on Facebook, on Instagram, or you can give them a call at 210-816-0357, or you can head on over to JD Associates LLC with your abuelita in your 99 Chevy Impala que le está faltando un poquito de paint job, pero you're going to get your taxes, my friend. Head on over to 4702 West Avenue, number 8, San Antonio, Texas, zip code 78213. Now, once you do get your taxes and you get your refund back and you want to say, hey, you know what? I want to get some stuff done there in my house. Well, guess what? Let's get some flooring done on Edwards Flooring Services. Guys, you can find Edwards Flooring Services on Facebook, on Instagram. You can give them a call at 210-702-8297. Or you can head on over there again with your abuelita to 1246 South Hackberry Street, San Antonio, Texas, zip code 78210. Guys, please do not do your flooring with the guy who has got just one eye, or please, El Tío Panchito, no more. Go ahead and call Edwards Flooring Services and get your flooring done for your casita. Guys, Edwards Flooring Services, JD Associates LLC, official sponsors for DeLoco podcast. All right, so, of course, you were talking about you want to get back to the community, but also everybody's going to see this title, so you're going to be getting thrown off like, okay, I saw her name, but, you know, Doña Dulces Cartel.
Yes.
But before we do that, I was like so intrigued, like for your story to get out there. I have to do something right now to make it official that you're here today. So you just got to be ready.
Okay.
Estás escuchando DeLoco Podcast.
I gotta make sure. You gotta make so you can know. Oh, okay, this is the local podcast. I know now, baby. All right, so Doña Dulces Cartel. How did this come about with that idea?
Well, this was my, because I almost passed that first hospitalization. Then I almost passed a second time when I got COVID in August of 2021.
We'll get a COVID number.
I know. But, by then I was already on the chemo and, the immune system y todo eso. But
Yeah.
anyway, so, it hit me hard.
Yeah.
We already had the kids. We just moved into, our house. So it had me really knocked out. So once I got over that, we were, over there by Arbor Park area.
Oh, okay.
They do like these setups, just like that, like our events. That
Yeah.
And one of the ladies there, she was there with her little girl, and I had COVID mouth. I couldn't taste. I couldn't do anything. I could just tell if something was sour or sweet. And I had my kids with me. We were walking around, and she had these grapes covered in like chamoy. And I was like, well, I haven't had that. And by then, I'm like trying to try everything to see if I can
work.
taste.
Yeah.
Or, I'm sniffing stuff in my kitchen. And so I was like, yes, I asked her, are they strong? And she was like, yeah. I was like, I'll take it. So I tried it. And lo and behold, I could feel and I could taste just a little bit. Then I asked the kids, you want to try some? See what you feel. And, they were just in love with it. They were like, oh, my gosh, this tastes so good. And, maybe we can try some, because it's a whole thing at home.
Oh, yeah.
Cooking and all that.
Cooking.
We try to make it a family thing, recipes, even going to groceries.
Oh, that's cool.
And stuff like that. And we had this thing once when they first came. I have a globe that belonged to my Uncle John, my dad's brother, sorry. And he passed back in the 90s, but I inherited that globe. And so what we did was I would spin it, and wherever the chosen one's finger, out of the four would point, we would look at that country or wherever they would point to, And we would try to make a dish from that.
Oh, that's
like
cool.
Like a nationality dish.
That's
from
cool.
There, a national dish. So, you know, that became a big thing for us. So
Wow.
we had like...
That's a good idea.
All sorts of stuff. You know? It was just creative. You know, it was during COVID, so we couldn't go out. We couldn't do anything. So we started doing that at home. So we had like Russian dishes. We had Filipino food. We had a lot of stuff going on at our house. And Sean was like, "Why do we have so much in our house? You know, like all the foods and leftovers." Trying something new.
Trying something new.
So, you know, I was like, you know, let's try it. Let's try making it at home.
Yeah.
So, you know, there we go. I buy all sorts of spices. And, you know, we're trying little by little and trying to get it right, you know, because I couldn't taste. I couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
So my kids and Sean's a guinea pig. But as we're doing this, I started seeing how much fun we're having. You know, it's kind of clicking. You know, the kids are happy experimenting, and so am I. I couldn't take the time, but stuff was coming back slowly. It's a Mexican spices. I don't know what it is about them, but they were.
They work. They
were curing.
Yes.
So you know, we go through this whole long, you know, process, and then we finally one day we hit the mark. It was like, this is perfect. They don't change it. It's a balance. It's not too sweet, not too sour. And, you know, it's savory. It's good. Leave it at that. Don't change it. So there I am writing it down, like exactly what I had. And then trying that then on the chamoy, the rim dips. Oh, my gosh. The kids go crazy over that now. So, you know, when we were developing, you know, that's when the thoughts started kind of clicking. I'm like, maybe we should do this. You know, maybe, you know, I can get on it because, you know, I need to leave something as a legacy for my kids.
Yeah.
So when that hit me, that realization hit me when I was dying. I'm gonna say it like that, when I was dying from COVID, because, you know, it was to the point where my breathing was so shallow. I had gone to University Hospital to go get treatment, and what they did was, they just barely got that antibodies treatment. And they gave that to me, and they had no hospital beds, no nothing. Was sitting in a chair for like 24 hours in their makeshift ER room at the time. I told my husband, I was like, no, just take me home. You know, I was texting him because I couldn't talk. I said, oh, just take me home. So I'm at home, and I'm like, couldn't breathe or anything. And it hit me. I said, you know, I can leave today, and like, what am I going to leave my kids? Like,
Yeah,
it's not
what are
like
you
I
gonna leave
can.
them?
It's like I can't transfer them my degree. I can't
Can't transfer that over. Yeah.
Yeah, no. There's no life savings, no nothing. You know, we're depleted and all that. So here I am with another chance. I'm like, what can I do? What can I do? Because it was a wake up call too to mortality. You know, I'm only human. You know, I can die at any point. It could be, I mean, God forbid, but it could be a car crash. It could be COVID. It could be anything. You know, so with my kiddos, I had asked them, I said, you want to start selling this stuff? You want to see, you know, where it goes?
Where it goes from here, yeah.
And so we tried. We put a little bit in our shop. We have, which, you know, we're closing down here soon, but it's called Wireless America. It's in San Marcos, and it's a little mom and pop shop. You know, we do the cell phone repairs, we do the CBD products, we do all the wall of accessories and stuff. And then I had put a little section that Sean was so nice to give me for the candies.
I bought a 5x4 or something. About like this big.
The sliver.
Just this little spot right here.
So we put the candies in there, and then people started picking up curiosity, and then they started buying, and it was slow. It was slow for about the first year, and then it slowly picked up. It just kind of seemed like it started doing a little bit better. And we're like, okay, and then yeah. So I mean, it all started off with COVID and the kids. And then it just kind of snowballed from there. Now the name.
Where? Yeah, I was about to say, where did that come? Cartel. Wow.
Cartel. Well, here's the thing. I had a
What side
salon.
of town do you live on?
Now it's the northeast.
Or where before?
Originally the west side.
That's where it came from. That's where it came from.
Originally.
It doesn't go away.
It
There's a
doesn't go
saying here on the south side. You can live on the south side all your life. You can never take the south sider, right? You can never take the south side out of a south sider, no matter where you go. And it's the same thing for a west sider, east sider. The same thing.
It's the same thing.
There it is.
We all have our hoops.
Right there you go.
I know. I'm probably the only one that goes to the school board over there with them.
With the hoops.
I know. Chola.
Hey, it is what it is, right?
So, but yeah, no, it is what it is. I mean, and the kids are learning too. It's cute. It's really, really cute. My youngest one, she's feisty.
Really?
I don't know where she gets it from. I really don't.
I think I heard your husband whisper.
You probably did. Well, I know. That's a creepy part. I mean, it's not. It's cute.
Yeah.
But I'm like, stop.
Stop it, please.
Stop.
So that's cool. So you came up with the name. How did you come up with the name? Did your kids help you with that too, or you just
No.
you sporadically came up with it?
Jesus.
Really?
No, okay.
Doña Florinda, or what's going on here?
No, I had a salon in Oklahoma, and I had it under the name of Brow Cartel. Brow Cartel. I wanted something that was going to catch people's attention, and so I went with it. I ran with it. I was like, okay, Brow Cartel. And then, but I really liked that cartel in there because it got so many questions.
Yeah.
And people were curious, and so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna keep that in there. So to sit down, and I was thinking, okay, there's so many other shops, and I'm looking at all these names, and people are like, I don't know, Mrs. That's something sweets, and I'm like, I want to be authentic. I want to be, so there I am with my little Mexican thesaurus, trying to go through it. Yeah.
Trying to come up with a name.
And finally, it clicked one day. I think we were out to dinner, and it was just one of those random moments. Cuando te pega,
Yeah,
it's like,
it hits you.
Yeah, it's like, Doña Dulces. And Sean was like, what? I was like, Doña Dulces Cartel. And he was like, oh, okay.
Oh, okay, whatever.
Okay.
What are you ordering?
Hurry up, we gotta go.
Oh, man.
So that's how that started. And so I put it down on paper, and I used the same little, I don't know, that rockabilly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rosie.
That's cool.
I use her, and I've used that for the Brow Cartel too.
Oh, really?
So I just transferred her over.
That's cool.
Transferred all that over, and I was like, that's
cool. You stuck with it.
Yeah.
You want to put your plug in so people can know where they can find you? Or
Yes. So on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, it's they call it, because they don't let you put that little ñ. It's Doña Dulces Cartel.com. Or, well, that's my website, sorry, but
Yeah.
Doña Dulces Cartel. But it's Doña, not Donna.
And on
not
Facebook
Donna.
too, right?
And on Facebook. So Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok.
And TikTok too.
Yes. And then I have our website, which is Doña Dulces Cartel.com.
.com. Okay, cool. Hey, you guys that are listening, you guys can just listen in. I'll have that in the description below. And then also too on YouTube, I'll have everything there. So people can just follow you there.
Awesome.
But before we end, I don't know if you want to just mention or say maybe an encouraging word to people that are listening. And then maybe you can encourage them with something that, maybe you have on your heart that you want to, just.
Of course. I know we all go through our trials, our tribulations, our tests, as you would see fit. I feel like everything that I went through was a test. But also, in a sense, it was a test for me to also gain strength, because I'll tell you, I felt at my weakest. I felt just close to and equal to dirt. Like I had lost that that sense of self-worth, you know, and God tells us that we are so precious.
Yep.
We are so precious, and I had lost sight of that. And, you know, from somebody who's been struggling, who has suffered a lot, I just want to say God is always there. He's ever present. He's ever knowing. He knows what you're going through.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also a fact that I had forgotten until I realized it again, that some of these tests were meant for us to come closer to him. It's like a calling, you know, like, my child, come to me, come here. And that's something I had forgotten. You know, you hear maybe once or twice in your Bible studies, you know, Bible school, and you know, and that was another thing that I had forgotten, and I started telling myself, maybe that's why. Maybe I had fallen so far that God needed to call me back. It was something dramatic, because he knows.
He needed to wake you up. Yeah.
So I feel like that's maybe one reason why, you know, is that I needed to come back. Because I could tell you, I was really falling short of the glory of God. And I'm not the perfect Christian.
Yeah, no one is. No one is.
You know, I still, you know, sometimes I have a mouth of a sailor, and sometimes, you know, I'll have to remind myself, hey, stop,
Yeah.
you know. You know, and things like that. I mean, we're only human. You know,
Yeah, we're only
sinners.
human.
You know, and not that it makes it okay, but, you know, we try our best. I try my best. I'm trying the best to raise our kids in the same way. But, you know, if you're going through anything, if you're feeling any type of lost hope, if you're feeling just depleted of anything, energy, you know, loss of hope, faith, you know, even of your self-worth, you know, give it to God. Give it to God, and allow him to help you, to heal you, to fill you with his love, his grace, his mercy. And just give it to him, you know. And I ask myself often, like, why didn't I give it to him earlier, you know? And let me tell you, it was a lot easier letting it go, even though I had anxiety about it.
Yeah.
You know, it was a lot easier letting go than to have to hold that and figure out, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? It's not what am I going to do? It's what he's going to do.
Yeah.
For me, you know, and that's where the difference is. And of course, if you're going through anything else, you know, I strongly encourage you to seek some help. And no matter what aspect it is, you know, whether it's financial or if it's mental, if it's, you know, something else with your health, please go and seek help. Don't keep in the dark about it. You need help. And I would highly advise, you know, anybody that's going through something, just go and seek help. It's a hand up, not a handout.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, we have to work as a community to help each other, and that's what we need to do.
Yeah, that's awesome. I appreciate you. Thank you again
Of course.
for being here and sharing your story.
Yeah.
For people to hear. That's a very encouraging story. And then, again, shout out to Our Lady of the Lake.
Yes.
Shout out to them. Everyone that is listening or watching at Our Lady of the Lake, I appreciate you guys so much. And I appreciate all the follows that you guys, some of you that followed me. And if you're not, follow me. Por favor, follow me. But also follow my friend here, Doña Dulces Cartel. But guys, like I always say, God loves you. Dios te ama. And beforehand, I want to make mention here, be ready. DeLoco Podcast's merch is coming very soon. I can finally say that. So guys, you just stay tuned. Like I said, follow me on Instagram. And then also, too, I forgot to mention, you can follow me on El TikTok. Now I'm on TikTok. So you guys can follow me, get some updates. But I will be having some merch coming out soon. So guys, again, God loves you. Dios te ama. God loves you, my friend. And I know you know that. Dios ama a todos ustedes. And I will see you guys on the very next episode.
Estás escuchando DeLoco Podcast.
Local podcast.